The universe has something essential to tell you, and perhaps instinctively you already know that this message is for you. It's not just a reflection, it's a call, a subtle reminder that there is a connection in motion, even when everything seems still. If you are present in body and soul right now, let the words reach you. They carry something that perhaps you haven't yet allowed yourself to feel. Something has changed, not visibly, but perceptibly. The person who inhabits your deepest thoughts seems to act differently. Before, perhaps everything was transparent, impulsive, even predictable. Not now. There is a new rhythm, as if she is treading carefully on ground too sensitive for noise. The universe wants to show you that this change is not for nothing. There is a reason for this caution, a reason for this silence. The connection between you was once intense, perhaps even chaotic. It was beautiful while it lasted, but also unbalanced. At some point, what seemed easy became tense. Small fractures spread, and even with love, it was clear that something needed to change. And that's what happened. This person understood, even if belatedly, that it was not possible to continue in the same way. She walked away or fell silent, not out of indifference, but to rethink everything that involved you. And now it's back, not in presence yet, but in attention, in strategy. She is watching you, but from a place where you can't see it and maybe shouldn't. There is a silent movement behind what appears to be inertia. This person seeks advice, analyzes possibilities, seeks help from those who understand feelings more than they do. What was once an impulse has now become a plan. A carefully constructed plan so that this time there are no failures. But above all, she wants to surprise you, not with sweet words or theatrical gestures, but with something you've never seen coming from her. Emotional maturity. That's why he prefers you not to know anything. She doesn't want you to interfere, not because she doesn't trust you, but because she doesn't trust herself yet. She's trying to be a better person, not for the world, but for this connection. You want to prove to yourself that you can act differently. This is the first time she has acted like this. She has always been more direct, perhaps even impulsive. Not now. Now everything seems to be done calmly. This may confuse you, and the universe knows this, but it asks you to trust your intuition. That feeling that something is about to happen is not imagination, it is attunement. Maybe you feel this presence even from a distance. Sometimes it feels like a memory, other times like a premonition. What matters is that, no matter how contained the gestures are, her energy continues to project itself towards you, and you feel that your life may even be in a good moment. Now you can be rebuilding yourself, looking to the future with more clarity and lightness. You may have overcome other stories and found yourself again, but that person, that specific person, still has a place in there. Not because you want to, but because that connection still pulses. And no matter how much you try to deny it, there is a what if that has never been answered. And she knows it. You know, you wonder if there is still love, if there is still something to be lived. And he also knows that he can't make the same mistakes again. That's why she's doing everything in a new way, a way that she hopes will make sense when she gets to you. She doesn't want any more confusing approaches. She wants to create a safe space, where you can breathe, where you feel seen, where everything that was left unresolved is finally understood. And even without saying a word, she is already trying to show this behind the scenes through her own transformation. The universe sees this movement and wants you to know that there is something on the way, but it will not come as before. It will come in another form, another time, another intention. The universe works in silence, and so has this person acted. There is a new level of consciousness within her that you have not yet had the chance to witness. For a long time, she misinterpreted his actions, confused his silences, distorted his intentions, not out of malice, but out of emotional immaturity. Now that has changed. She began to see details that she had previously ignored. He began to review his gestures, conversations, absences. And all of this led to a different understanding of what you experienced. It is as if it has been touched by a new lens, a clarity that comes not from thought but from experience. And that's exactly what drives her today. But she doesn't want to rush into things. The old version of that person might suddenly appear, with emotional requests or impulsive promises. The new version prefers to understand before acting. She prefers to be sure that she won't repeat the same patterns, and perhaps that's why you're approaching slowly, without making yourself noticed. Maybe you even felt that something changed in the air, a nameless restlessness, a silent presence, and it did indeed change. She is watching you not obsessively, but with renewed curiosity. Through what you publish, what you share, the reactions you demonstrate. She tries to decipher their signals, to understand if there is room for return, even if minimal. And even if she doesn't say it, she is being influenced by everything she sees. People close to you are also participating in this, even without you knowing it. Maybe mutual friends, advisors, even family members. The universe has placed these figures in her path for a reason. And the words that reach her are not criticisms, they are encouragements. They are reminders of what was true between you and how much she lost by not knowing how to take care of it before. This external influence does not serve to manipulate it, but to drive it. They are confirmations that it is worth trying something different. And that's why she decided not to come like before. You don't want to present yourself with the same old lines anymore. You want to do something new, something that lives up to the connection that began back then. She might not show it, but this person is vulnerable. She's afraid of rejection, of hearing she's too late, of realizing you've moved on. This fear makes her incredibly careful. She observes, evaluates, and waits to avoid any missteps. But this isn't passive waiting, it's preparation, the silence before a significant decision. Meanwhile, you continue your journey. You might feel a recent lightness, as if an old weight has lifted, yet there's still an unoccupied internal space that, deep down, belongs to her. You might have tried to rationalize this, telling yourself it's no longer possible, but you sense something is coming. It's not about forcing a reunion, but about a cycle closing or restarting differently. The universe is showing signs, and even without knowing your reaction, she's preparing to reappear, not with grand declarations, but with small, consistent, real actions. She wants to offer something different, and the truth is, you've changed too. Now, you won't accept anything less than a connection that respects you, sees you completely, and is willing to grow with you. That's why she's scared, but also hopeful. This story is still being written, even when everything seems still. When someone starts to see you differently, even from a distance, everything changes. This person, once both close and distant, is now silently relearning to see you, guided carefully by the universe. Before, she focused on superficial aspects, your reactions, absences, unspoken words. Now, her focus is elsewhere. She seeks to understand what she missed when she had direct access to you. This marks a significant turning point. She's realized she ignored essential details, was guided by assumptions, unresolved fears, and advice that pulled her away from her own intuition. She's trying to correct that course. She doesn't expect a warm welcome or even your permission to get close. Still, she persists in understanding who you are today, not just who you were when it all began. This impacts her more than she realizes because while you grew, she was stagnant, unsure how to act. Now, seeing how much stronger you've become, she understands how much further she has to go. But this contrast attracts her, not because she wants to be identical, but because she wants to deserve to be part of your life again, this time with maturity. She no longer wants to be someone who appears and disappears. She wants to be present and stable, but knows it's not enough to say it, she needs to demonstrate it. That's her biggest challenge, letting her actions speak before any words. That's why she observes so much and takes her time. You, on the other hand, feel this movement, perhaps not clearly, but frequently. It's like a feeling that something is rearranging itself. You feel when her thoughts touch you, and sometimes you even sense when she almost calls, but doesn't. When she almost writes, but erases. When she almost comes back, but postpones it. This almost bothers you, not out of dependence, but because you've realized something unresolved lingers. Even though you've learned to protect yourself, you still have that question, what if this time is different? This doubt isn't a setback, it's an opening. Maturity isn't the end of hope, it's the choice to make room only for what's truly worthwhile. The universe sees that you haven't closed that door completely, you've just carefully locked it. She's on the other side, and instead of knocking, she's trying to find the right key. She knows she lost moments, made mistakes, and hurt you, and that weighs heavily. But she doesn't want to repeat, she wants to rebuild, and though she doesn't know how yet, she's willing to learn. This learning is guided by something greater, a force beyond her will, pride, or fear. The universe is creating opportunities, small encounters, synchronicities, and signs. Nothing that pushes you, but everything that reminds you there's still something at stake. She feels time is running out, that postponing what's true is no longer possible. She wants to get closer, but differently this time. She wants to open a space where you can breathe without distrust, where you no longer need to protect your heart so much, a space where you can express yourself without fear of not being understood. More than that, she wants you to feel there's someone truly ready to see you. The question now isn't whether there will be a reunion, but what it will be like, because deep down, you already know, this connection is still alive. There's something curious happening between you. Even without direct dialogue, there's a constant exchange, an invisible field that remains active. The universe wants to remind you of this. The space between you isn't empty, it's full of subtle movement, of intentions not yet verbalized. This person, who for so long seemed oblivious, is finally recognizing what has always been there, not just the feeling, but the impact you had on her life. Now, instead of running away or ignoring it, she's facing it, reviewing her patterns, and questioning how she failed to notice everything you had. In this process, she's letting go of old beliefs, thoughts like, it won't work, it's over, it's too late. She's discovering that time doesn't erase what's essential, it only hides it for a while. Do you have a sense of what these small, consistent, real attitudes might look like from her? What she feels for you, despite everything, remains essential, but she still doesn't want to take risks. She prefers to observe the scenery from outside before deciding whether to approach. And that's why every single thing you do becomes meaningful, because she's watching, not as someone who expects perfection, but as someone who seeks to understand where you are right now, emotionally, spiritually, affectively. This person feels that you have changed. It's not just about attitudes, it's about presence. You seem more centered, more whole, more aware of what you deserve. And this, instead of intimidating her, inspires her. She begins to realize that in order to be by his side, she can no longer act immaturely. It needs to come with truth, with emotional responsibility, with a willingness to care. And this challenges her, because deep down she was never taught to give herself deeply. She has always protected her own emotions, acted defensively, tried to maintain control. But now she understands that true love does not go hand in hand with control, that real connection requires surrender and surrender requires courage. Therefore, she is preparing herself, not with ready-made speeches, but with silent actions. You are leaving aside emotional games, insecurities, comparisons. And even if it takes longer than you would like, she is changing and changing for you, or rather, for everything that this connection has awakened in her. Meanwhile, the universe also watches you and recognizes your evolution. You are no longer the same person who expected answers, who accepted halves, who was content with a little. Now you know your worth, and so, even though you still have feelings for her, you keep your feet on the ground. You don't chase, you don't beg, you don't force. And that's powerful, because your steadfastness is teaching her something. It is showing that if you want to be part of his life, you will need to come with maturity, with clarity, with true intention. And that's what she's beginning to understand. This new cycle will not open with promises, but with consistency, not with urgency, but with presence. And little by little, she is learning this. You are accepting that you may need to take it slow, respect your time, your journey, your new way of seeing love. What exists between you is not a memory of the past, it is a seed that can still blossom. As long as it is watered with truth. The time that passed was not wasted, it was necessary for each one to mature where they were, so that the reunion, if it happens, will be different from anything they have experienced before. Maybe you still wonder if it's worth the wait, but the universe doesn't talk about waiting, it talks about recognition. And if you feel like there is still some truth to this connection, trust what your intuition reveals. Sometimes the silence between two hearts says more than any words. And at this moment, she is trying to learn to speak this new language, the language of someone who doesn't just want to be, but to remain. Not everything that matters happens before our eyes. Sometimes what really transforms comes from the invisible, from the silence between two thoughts, from the pause before a message that was not sent, from the sigh held back when seeing a memory. The universe wants you to know. The reunion between you has already begun. Even if nothing has been said yet, this person is coming back, even if the body is still far away, he is coming back through the heart. And this return is in no hurry. It is being woven with care, stitch by stitch, in an attempt to create something that is safe, true, and lasting. She is understanding that it is not enough to want, it is necessary to build. And to build something with you, you need to abandon your defenses, review old behaviors, recognize what you did and what you didn't do. This is not easy. It demands more of her than anything else she has ever experienced. But she is willing because this connection showed her something that no other has shown her, the possibility of living something real. And you feel this not because she said it, but because the universe shows it to you in dreams, in sensations that come from nowhere, in thoughts that appear when you least expect it. You feel this approach, and even without knowing what to do with it, you recognize that something is moving. This connection is asking for more from both of you. It is asking for truth, it is asking for courage. And what is about to happen will not be like before. It will require both of you to be willing to let go of what was comfortable to create something new. Something that you may not yet know how to name, but that you can feel. She is getting closer, yes, but this time with the intention of adding, not confusing, with the desire to listen, not just to talk, with the desire to build together and not just to be close by, because she finally understood that being present is more than just showing up, it is supporting. The universe wants you to remember who you are. You are not waiting for someone to complete you. You have already completed yourself. What are you looking for now? It is reciprocity, partnership, presence with purpose. And that's exactly what she wants to offer. If you are still open to it, perhaps this reunion does not have a set date, perhaps it will not come with grand gestures, but with a different perspective, an honest conversation, a gesture of care. And that will be enough, because what you are rebuilding is something that never stopped existing, it just needed to mature. The transformation has already begun within you, within her, within the connection between you. And with time, everything that seemed lost will begin to make sense. You don't have to run. The universe takes care of time. Your role is simply to listen to your intuition, to keep your heart whole and open to what is true. Because when love comes back different, it comes back to stay. If this story inspired you, write in the comments. I accept. This helps the universe know that you have heard the call. Share this video with someone who may be waiting for a true reunion. And if you want to continue receiving messages like this, subscribe to the channel. The universe has much more to show you. And that was just one of the ways.